name is Garrett. I have a micro penis, and you're listening to Decentralize Now.
All right, this is me talking. Test 1, 2. Chemtrail, if I can get you to say something.
Check, check, check. Check 1, 2. Check, check, check. Check 1, 2.
Garrett, if I can get you to say something for me, please.
Balls.
I'm keeping that in. You can hear me playing that back.
Free the people, free the markets. Decentralize Now. Season 2.
Welcome to this episode of Decentralize Now. We have a very special guest today. I was scrolling through my Facebook feed the other day. I come across a post by our guest Garrett here, and the post simply reads, "Oh look, here's a picture of me 7 years ago robbing a bank." And needless to say, it caught my attention. Chemtrail, I think I may have tagged you in it. It definitely caught your attention, and we both hopped on this right away. We've got to hear your story, man. We've got to hear this. You've got to come on the podcast. You've got to come to tell us about it. And Garrett, being the very cool guy he is, said, "Fuck yeah, I'll do it." So, Garrett, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, not a problem, man.
And just for the record, it's also your birthday, too, isn't that right?
It is my birthday.
Well, happy motherfucking birthday.
Happy fucking birthday, man.
For sure.
So,
yeah. Good birthday to spend outside of prison.
That's for sure. I guess every birthday's good.
Yeah.
Do they do anything special for you on your birthday in prison? Does anyone care?
It depends on who you take a shower with.
This is already my favorite episode.
This is the best fucking episode. People are paying for this shit. We shouldn't even do this one for free. You gotta pay money
fucking
for this
charge.
Shit.
Oh, it's fucking awesome. So,
yeah, actually, you'd be amazed, man. There's some really good fucking dudes in prison, and I mean, like, you know, they take care of each other, and they make fucking, you know, great cuisine out of the limited resources you can get. So,
dude, I've never been to prison, but I've been arrested a fucking lot. I've spent a lot of time in jail, and I've never been ceased to be amazed by what these fucking guys can do with, like, a bag of potato chips and some hot sauce and, like, an old soda, and they can make that shit banging.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fucking improvise, overadapt, and overcome.
Oh, yeah. That's the beauty of some of them fucking guys in there, man. They're like the most creative motherfuckers you'll ever meet.
How long were you in prison for?
I did about 4 years in prison on an 8-year sentence.
That's weird, man. Like, I mean, because you robbed. So you actually went in and, like, did you go in with a gun or with a knife? Like, how did you do it?
No, I wrote a note. The crazy thing is, I was totally strung out on heroin, and I had been thinking about robbing a bank because, I mean, quick money and heroin fucking go hand in hand. So I see this old dude in a Colorado Department of Correction dress outs, and he's like, I asked him, you know, did you just get out? He's like, yeah. And I was like, what'd you do time for? And he's like, bank robbery. And I was like, fuck, bro, I've been wanting to do that. I just can't find a gun. And he like put me on to the whole thing. He's like, bro, you just write a note. Don't threaten any violence. You pass him the note. Don't pretend you have any kind of weapon. Like, it's protocol that the bank has to give you the money. So...
yeah, they don't want their tellers getting hurt and shit. They always tell you to just comply, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, after the first one, I mean, the shit, it was kind of, I've always been like an adrenaline junkie. I mean, even prior to doing the bank robberies, I was just doing fucking, I basically stole anything that I could get to, you know, that I could quickly sell to obviously get heroin. But after that first bank, man, it was, I mean, it was really a fucking rush. I mean, it was a super rush. I came out of there and it was just, especially getting away with it. It was, fuck, dude. It was better than the heroin.
If I can ask you this, let's go to the first one. So obviously you said you had the drug issue, the adrenaline issue too, and you're going into the first bank. Kind of walk us through that. Was it daytime? Was it nighttime? Kind of what was the scene looking like?
Okay, so that day, the prospects for thievery weren't very great. I started withdrawing from the heroin probably around noon. And so 1 o'clock, the idea was like, I'm going to take this old dude's advice and go get a deposit slip or a withdrawal slip, write the note on the back. So it's fucking broad daylight in Denver. And I actually went to a thrift store to get clothes that I could get out of quickly, for the immediate fucking ID change. But I went into the bank and looked around, looked to see if there were any undercover cops or anybody that looked like they might be packing, because I mean they can shoot you dead.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what it boils down to. But I went in there, there was a Burger King next door, and I got a withdrawal slip and went to the Burger King and fucking just wrote out a note. This is a robbery. Put all banded bills in one pile, all unbanded bills in another pile, and nobody's going to get hurt. And I sat in that Burger King for probably 15 minutes just trying to, work up the courage to go and do that. And I went in there, and I mean, there was a huge line of customers. There was no mask. There was no, I was trying to look like I belonged there as much as I possibly could. And I slid the note to the teller, and one thing I do remember that sucks is I know that teller's probably got kids and shit, but you could see the fear of God come into her face when she read that note. I don't feel bad about taking money from the bank. I do there's definitely, I understand that teller, she may have completely had to switch up careers and shit after that. So I mean, I definitely, I don't want to sit here and glorify the shit it's fucking super badass or something. It kind of is, but on the other side of the coin, I mean, you do have ordinary people just fucking trying to take care of their kids and shit. But I mean, she got scared and she froze for a second. I was just you're okay. And she just followed the instructions. And I just took the money, put it in my pockets, and walked the fuck out of there. And went into an alley and got out of all the clothes that I had worn in there and changed into some other clothes. Was your heart
just beating out of your chest? I mean, were you terrified, or were you just I did it? You know what I mean?
So I did it, and then there was I need to get the fuck out of this area, because I know, man, the cops are gonna be fucking here in no time. So, I fucking, dude, I mean, it was huge, man. This is almost making me relive it. So it's in an area that's not too far from downtown Denver, and there's a pedestrian path that leads, it gets you over the roads and shit, so that you're not going to be followed. You can't be followed by vehicles. So I took that path and got into downtown Denver, and I mean, I was relieved. I was I fucking pulled that shit off. And yeah, I mean, after that, it was fuck it, I was already wanted for a bunch of other shit, and I basically got to a point where I was just fuck it. I mean, what are they going to do? Give me prison time? I'm already looking at prison time for fucking theft and all the other shit I'd been doing.
Yeah, what's the expression? Double screwed is just screwed.
Yeah, it literally was just fuck it, and I do want to say, like, I've been in recovery since I went to prison, and I try to explain to people, like, I know myself well enough to know that if I fucking take chances like that, or even like drink and decide, I'm the kind of guy who I drink a beer and then somebody's like, we have some Coke. And I'm like, all right, Coke. And then I'm like, okay, well, the Coke's all gone. We need more Coke, and we might as well get some other shit, you know? And then I'm fucking living on the street stealing.
Hey, can you walk me through, like, what was the moment when you realized, like, you got away with it? So obviously you said, like, you're kind of like, hey, I got to get my clothes changed. I got the fuck out of here, right? When did it calm down? When was it like, holy shit, I got away with this?
I got into downtown Denver, and there was actually some dude playing some tunes on a guitar, and I was like, fuck, like, I don't see any cops swooping down or anything, and I just gave the dude some money, and I went and sat down in a Starbucks and had coffee, and I mean, it was like, I was just like, oh, I'm good.
That's so insane, man. It's like, I'm just like standing here listening to a dude play some music. I'll give him a couple bucks. That's so insane, man.
Well, what I think about too is, like, you think of bank robberies and it's like Ocean's 11, where it's just like extremely complex thing. But no, I mean, apparently it was able to be done just by walking up, doing it, and moving on. We don't live in the movie world. We live in a real world, and I think that's just really interesting.
Oh yeah, and there's been an influx of like an uptick in the similar bank robberies, just because, I mean, people are getting hip to it. It's like, there's certain degrees of felonies here, and it's like, you could steal a bicycle and do more time for a fucking bicycle than you can for walking in and passing a note teller. So, anybody with that criminal mentality is gonna, I mean, it's a fair trade. It's, fuck it. I mean, I'm not you go in, it's a non-violent offense. It's fucking, you're guaranteed some sort of money. And I mean, it's definitely going to feed the beast for a little while. So,
do you think, I mean, would you say it was easy?
Yeah, it was very easy.
Just building up the courage. It seems like it was the hardest part, man. I mean, you just walked in and took money out of a bank. I know you said you have a micro penis, but your balls must be fucking enormous.
They are, man. That's the problem with having big balls and a micro penis. I always piss on my balls.
How much money did you get from the first one?
How much money did you get, man?
On the first one, I got like $900.
Really?
Which a lot of people have this misnomer that you go in and you fucking come out with like 10 grand or fucking 200 grand. But I mean, the reality is like those tellers like stock their drawers for a certain amount of money, just like most businesses, and you got people coming in with transactions all day, and that cash supply in that drawer it's pretty random. Depending on how many customers they've had, how much money they've had to put out to the customer. So that one was 900. But
how long was it between robberies?
Okay, so I did 4 in like 2 weeks.
Okay.
So after the first one, I mean, with a fucking full-blown heroin and cocaine addiction, that money went real quick. I mean, within a couple days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What was the when you did it? You got away with it. You went to the Starbucks, had the coffee. Were you thinking, like, was there, obviously you did a couple more, but in between the first and the second, was there a struggle of, hey man, I got one, I should probably just count my blessings, or was there was no questioning? It was just like, hey, this is the money, go do the next one, kind of a thing. Did you wrestle with it? Did you kind of want to, fold your cards, so to speak? Or was there that struggle, or was that not really an issue at that point once you saw kind of how easy it was?
Yeah, no, there wasn't an issue at all. I mean, my entire life back then was like every day was like one step closer to the grave. And I mean, I basically like, I was like, fuck it, man. I don't have anything to lose. I mean, I fucking, I basically lost my kids, and shit, through addiction. Fucking, I've just seen so many, my own family members die from it. And I was like, fuck it, man. I'm out here alone. I don't give a fuck. And I mean, there was no question. I mean, the beast has to be fed, and, people, you're going to do whatever it takes to do that. So.
What was what was your sentencing like? Like, what was, I mean, it sounds like you didn't ever threaten violence, and it sounds like you got a pretty significant your term shortened pretty significantly. I mean, half of 8 years. I mean, so half your sentence you didn't have to serve. Is that because you did jail time or good behavior, or did they kind of take it easy on you because they saw, like, man, this guy needs some help? I mean, what was the court kind of situation like?
I gotta tell you, my fucking public defender, I mean, this dude was a beast. He wasn't just like some dude, because like at first they're like, 10 to 32 years, and they had given me like some temporary public defender, and he's like, I'd recommend like pleading out to low double digits. But I had a public defender who was like, because prior to like being a heroin addict, like I didn't have some huge record. I wasn't fucking running around fucking committing crime, And this dude was like, he basically, they have this crime spree defense here, especially for people in addiction who fucking run rampant, to feed the beast. And fortunately that dude was, he was like, this guy could get some help in prison, and this guy is fucking redeemable. I mean, he's been productive for most of his life, so, I mean, I had a great public defender. And I mean, I don't know, man, when I got arrested on the fourth one, these fucking cops, they beat me almost to death, man. I mean, they had the ground, and there were like 8 of them, and I weighed 113 fucking pounds.
Jesus.
Jesus, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you could see it in the picture on Facebook. I mean, I fucking was Skeletor,
And I just saw a picture of you too, and you look like, like a big guy now. So that must have been like a big change. You know what I mean? Like you were really, really thinning out.
Oh yeah. I mean, the reality is, it's like, fuck, dude, if you got money and you're out there living that life, you're not worried about food.
Yeah.
You got to keep the sickness away and fucking, try to fucking keep from puking and shitting all over yourself.
What kind of crazy things will our heroes talk about next? Stay tuned to find out.
So,
were the second and the third one, were they in the same area, or do you think, hey, I've got to go to a completely different area to try to do it, or was it all within the same kind of neighborhood?
It was all within like the Denver like metro area, like downtown Denver-ish.
Okay.
Except for the fourth one. The fourth one was a little south, on the south end of Denver. But it was a bank that was open on the weekend. So it was kind of, it was like literally, I didn't need to do it. And like, I actually had a friend saying like, bro, like I have a bad feeling, like fucking don't do it. Don't do it. I'm like, bro, I got away with 3 of them. Fucking, I'll get this one too. And no, the teller like put a GPS, like a stack with a GPS tracker in there.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the ID change and everything didn't mean shit when they're like literally fucking, they know exactly where I'm at.
Let me ask you this too, because I've heard of some people who, and obviously I don't have a lot of experience with this, I'm speaking out of ignorance, but some people say, they were on this ride, some things happened, and that kind of caught up with them. but that jail was, in a sense, it helped them clean out, it helped them turn around. And some people said, without that experience, I wouldn't have, kind of gotten off this kind of thing. Do you see it that way, or is that just not a realistic way of looking at it?
No, I definitely see it that way, man. And it wasn't just sitting there drying out. It was like actually having to sort through fucking all the shit I'd been through. I mean, I had like a really shitty childhood in foster care, abuse to the point of broken bones, fucking, I mean, I was just completely like walking wounded, just completely fucking clueless. Like I had no self-respect, no love for myself, or, my entire life up to going to jail was like a fucking drawn out suicide mission. I mean, little fucking 3-month stints of success here and there, but I mean, I was just like literally in probably the most fucked up headspace like a human being could be in for up until, a little time after I went to jail, man. But jail definitely saved me. And it wasn't just jail, dude. I mean, there's some really good dudes in there who are like, I know what it's like. Like, you don't love yourself. You don't love yourself, and like you need to fucking love yourself. You need to sort through everything and fucking come to terms with shit. You need to fucking put that shit to rest so like you can actually move forward.
Let me ask you this too, because on this, this is a libertarian podcast. It's mostly a podcast about life and stuff, but we're the libertarian themed. And obviously, decriminalization is something that comes up as a topic. So a lot of people who are listening to this, and a lot of people who we interact with, are talking about decriminalization and legalization. But kind of from what you're saying, what's your opinion on that from your experience? Because probably you have the most experience probably with anyone on this podcast. So do you think that the criminalization is kind of a blessing in disguise, in the sense that it does turn people's life around, or kind of what's your opinion, I guess, on the fact that the substance is criminalized?
In my honest opinion, I personally think everything should be decriminalized.
Okay.
People, like, at the end of the day, people got to be honest with themselves. And, like, it doesn't matter if you have the nanny state sitting here telling you what's good, what's bad, your family, whatever. I mean, people got to be honest with themselves. But if the shit was decriminalized and a guy could fucking maintain a habit, without having to commit a felony every time fucking they make a purchase, I mean, it would definitely reduce fucking, theft-related crimes, robberies, fucking, violent armed robberies. I personally just feel like the shit should all be decriminalized, because at the end of the day, whether it's criminalized or not, people are going to make their fucking choices, and like that's on them.
Not going to get any pushback from either of us on that. I think you said that great. That was beautiful.
I mean, I know for me, I can't fucking use drugs. I can't drink alcohol. It turns me into a person that I don't really like to be.
Sure.
And but everybody's different, man. And I mean, fuck, they've used different drugs throughout history for different ailments, and like some people have the addictive gene and others don't. But I mean, if they have methadone clinics where you can go to and spend a shitload of money every month to get fucking methadone. And I mean, it's just another racket for some pharmaceutical company to fucking funnel money into their pockets. Now
it's literally replacing an opioid with an opioid, except now you got to go to big pharma to get it. You don't go to, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that. I've seen that. I've seen where people, they say they're getting off heroin or something, and it feels like, they get in these methadone clinics, and they're just as addicted to that as they were maybe some of this other shit they were on,
Yeah, I mean, it's the same shit. I mean, it's doing the same fucking thing. It acts on the same receptors. It's basically all maintenance. But I know for me, like, I had done the methadone thing, I did the Suboxone thing, but until like I healed, like, and started to like deal with my own bullshit, like, fuck, dude. I mean, it was never, if I was doing methadone, I was doing cocaine and meth to get high, because I couldn't, it blocks the effects of opiates. So it's like, well, I mean, I still need to get high on something. So I'll do some meth or do some coke or fucking drink.
Are you enjoying the podcast? Just kidding. We know you are, and you're welcome. You're listening to Decentralize Now.
Now, we did the first one. Obviously, you kind of walked through what it was like when you did the first one. The second time, it sounded like there was no hesitation. You kind of felt like, hey, man, I can do this. And because of the situation, you had to do the second and the third. With the second, obviously, we go into the fourth, and you told us a little bit about that where, it was open on the weekend. A friend of yours kind of says, hey, I got a bad feeling about this. Walk us through maybe that one and why it was different. And you said there was an altercation with the police. Can you walk us through that last one, like where it all finally caught up with you?
I remember, fuck, dude, I'll never forget it. There was like a CSU fucking football game, and like there's all these people fucking, riding the light rail and shit to get there, and I fucking meet up with my buddy, and I was like, hey, bro, I'm gonna go fucking hit this fucking TCF bank down here. And he was like, oh, bro, I got a bad feeling. But, there was, in my mind, I had this, I was fucking invincible, unfuckwithable,
Yeah.
So I thought. And, I mean, it was the same, basically fucking clothes to change out of, clothes to change into, and then I bought a new lip ring so I could fucking put that in afterwards. I really thought like this was gonna do it, but I know there was like something intrinsically telling me like it's a bad idea. I mean, there were just like signs everywhere.
And these were different from the second, the third one. Like shit was going on in the fourth one that inside you that wasn't going on the second and the third. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Now, what was that? What were some of those tells like?
Okay, I mean, this might sound crazy, man,
sure,
but I was like walking down the sidewalk up in the area of the bank, and I saw a fucking license plate with 666 on it, and awesome. There was just that unnerving, visceral feeling that something was wrong. I firmly believe that, like, there's a source that we can all tap into and fucking, learn truths that we can't learn from books and shit. But everything that day was just, it was all wrong. It was just fucking wrong. And,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, and it being a Saturday, I didn't even need to do it. I didn't need money at that second, but in my mind, I'm like, well, if I get more money, then fucking, I can hold off on whatever the next misadventure is going to be.
Do you think you were finding yourself getting addicted to just the thrill of doing it?
I would definitely say that there's definitely, the adrenaline junkie was getting its fix completely by doing it. That's one thing, like, a lot of people don't necessarily like think there's that element in crime, but I mean, there's definitely an element of fucking, there's a rush that, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe jumping out of a plane or like being in a firefight or something might actually fucking be similar, but I'd never, I've never felt adrenaline at that level before.
So after you did the fourth one, obviously going into it, you've got sort of a bad feeling about things. You go when you told us already that the way you got caught was they kind of put a tag in the clip of money, and you also mentioned like some problems with the cops. So kind of walk us through. Okay, you go when you do shit for the fourth one. how did you get caught, and what was it like with the cops on you?
Okay, so I go in there, the ladies work, the teller's working, like it's like right before closing time. And fucking her manager's on the phone, you know, in the office behind her, and I slip her the note, and like she hands me a huge bundle of cash. I mean, it was like 10 cents. And, you know, I walk out of the bank, I fucking dip into the alley, jump out of the clothes I was in, throw them in a dumpster, get the other clothes on, and put my lip ring in, and, you know, I was like, okay, I think I'm good on this one. And I started walking down the street, and I mean, almost within like 3 minutes of getting out of the bank, I see cop cars, but they're flying by me, so I'm like, I'm good. Next thing I know, I see these motherfuckers flip a bitch, and they're coming up the street, and one of them's on the fucking sidewalk. And I tried to run. I mean, I thought like I was really healthy or something. And I tried to run and get over a fucking fence. And one of them grabbed a hold of me and fucking, man, they took me down. And I was like, hey, dude, I'm not resisting. Fucking, I'm good. And I mean, they just fucking pummeled me, dude.
Damn.
Just I mean, I had to, dude, I mean, both of my eyes were black. I had blood all over my face. It was like really just a bunch of unnecessary force, you know.
That's all the fucking police are good for. That's their job, is to enforce with violence.
Yeah.
I wonder why they were like personally, because it sounds like you said like it's unnecessary force. Like I don't know if it was like, is it, in your opinion? Obviously, you know more than us about that. In your opinion, is this a situation where the police are like, "Hey, we've got the green light to fuck with someone, let's do it," or was it some sort of, you know, righteous vigor, or what do you think? I don't know if you probably didn't talk to these guys, you know what I mean? So you weren't able to maybe, I don't know, maybe you did. But what was the reason for that, in your opinion? Is it just that they're psychopathic, or what?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're psychopathic. I mean, it's like fucking gangbangers that, you know, want to jump somebody just because they can. And, you know, Denver Police Department has had so many fucking lawsuits filed against them for excessive force. I mean, they're just fucking punks, man, that like to beat people up, you know, and they have a badge, so there's no repercussions for them. So essentially, like trying to kill people, you know, and like that's what it boils down to, you know. And I still like feel kind of salty about that shit.
Damn, for sure, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had a dude on my chest. I could not fucking breathe. And there was like some rookie cop. You could tell like this dude's all young and shit. And he was just like standing back, like almost in horror as to what these fucking pigs were doing. He didn't get in on the melee. He just sat there and observed. And fortunately, some old dude on a bicycle that I would have stolen fucking 3 months before came riding by, and he stopped, and he fucking turned on his, you know, he fucking started recording them, and he told them, I'm fucking recording this. And they finally let up once they realized that they were, you know, somebody who was going to hold them accountable.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right, so do you think that if that guy didn't whip out the cell phone and start recording you, do you think that they were like trying to kill you? Or do you think they were just trying to have rough fun? Or did you sound like you feel like your life was in jeopardy?
Oh no, my life was. I couldn't fucking breathe, and like I couldn't even get those words out. I mean, like literally, like that's the closest to death I have ever felt. And I mean, it was fucked up. I mean, they would not relent. I mean, and they don't. Like, this is what police do. They do whatever the fuck they want, and they get away with it. And, you know, I really feel like if that dude wouldn't have stopped, like, those fuckers probably would have killed me.
Well, that's the thing. You know, one of the greatest things is that the invention of that fucking cell phone. Holy shit. You know what I mean? Can you imagine what shit was like in the fucking 60s? Or some shit like that. All this shit they were able to get away with. And not that they don't get away with shit now, obviously. because I mean they got away with shit. They use excessive force, and for kind of what you're telling me, nothing happened.
I mean,
but,
that's what fucking that's what a gang does. Like you said, like
It
there
is
was
a-
like
it's a
the
gang.
young cop, the new cop was hanging back, like horrified at what was happening. Like that's indoctrination. Like they're like, you know what I mean? They're like hazing him. You know, this is how you become one of us. It's so fucking horrible, man. Dude, that's so disgusting.
Did they? Okay. So they beat the shit out of you. The guy pulls it out, kind of starts filming, and it was a
Don't
totally
say the guy
unfair
pulls
fight.
it out. That was
He pulls it out and out.
Pulled it out. I made a few bucks on the side.
So he removes his camera and starts to use the camera and filming or whatever, man. And so what is that like? Do they talk to you? After, I mean, what do they do? Like they put you in the car? Is there chit chat or do they start saying shit? Like what? Like,
They cuffed me, got my hands behind my back, and fucking made me sit up against the wall. And there was like, for them, it was just another day at the office,
Damn.
I mean,
So I'm gonna keep going, man. I'm fat. I don't want to cut up. Do you have anything else to say? Busted. I don't want to hog it, man,
I'm
but
kind of
it's
like in
fucking
shock
fascinating.
right now a little bit. Like that's fucking horrible. That's just
fucking
fucking
horrible.
absolutely horrible.
Well, and I think it brings out a good point, and I don't necessarily know the answer to the situation, but it's like you have an authority that can get away with shit. Like, and it's not just in movies; it's in the real fucking world. But how do you police that? Because so we have I guess the way we police it is through the spread of technology. Like, 'cause now everybody's got fucking cameras, everybody's got cell phones. If you get pulled over, you can just pull out your cell phone and start live streaming that shit. So if he wants to do something, you've got that shit on live stream. That's permanent shit. So
Yeah,
I guess-
except that
You know what I
people
mean?
do that all the time. They're always filming the fucking police beating people, killing people, stealing from people, doing these horrible things. They go to court. They're judged by a group of their peers, which are all their fucking buddies, and they don't get any. There's no remorse, and they don't have to serve any time. Usually, in a lot of cases, after 6, 7, 8 months goes by and people forget about it, they let them right back on the force. There's no real repercussion for these people. If you want to get sorry to change the subject, but 30 people on their phones is not going to stop something horrible from happening. But 30 people beating the shit out of those 5, 6 cops that were beating one guy to death, that might start changing some shit.
Yeah, I'm to a point where I realize the balance of, the government on all levels is just out of fucking control.
Mhm.
And we're held to a standard. These are supposed to be of the people, and we're held to standards that they're way above on every level. They can get away with whatever the fuck they want on all levels of government, as long as they're doing it in the name of their fucking badge or their fucking political position. I'm personally me and my girlfriend are trying to find a way to get off the grid, because in my fucking opinion, the only way that things are going to change is through bloodshed. And I'm not necessarily I don't, that's not something I want, but I realize when you have somebody who can just do whatever the fuck they want to people, the only way I've seen bullies stop bullying is when they get punched in the fucking mouth.
That's true,
Goddamn
though.
right.
That's true.
And when they realize hey, people aren't going to take our shit.
Oh shit, they're not controllable anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or fucking, oh shit, we've been fucking, had, they know what we're doing now.
I'm
Well,
right
and
there
that's the
with you
thing,
too,
though. I
man.
mean, I
I've been
guess
talking
that's
to
where I
my
kinda
wife, and
disagree
she's
with-
resistant to it. But I'd like to save up our money, sell a bunch of the stuff we have, and just buy a big plot of land with a little house, and just live out off the land by ourselves. I don't really want to be a part of this shit anymore either, because it's going to fucking shit, dude. The public schools are shit. We have a kid now, so the public schools are shit. The programs that you send your kids to are all full of pedophiles. The fucking government's trying to tell your kid that it should cut its, whatever off and turn into the opposite thing, and it freaks me the fuck out, dude. Like I think someone needs to start dropping bodies.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, and it's like, to me, the worst part about it is 99% of the fucking population, as long as their team wins, it doesn't matter what their fucking team leaders do. And that's the shitty thing, this blind fucking loyalty to these institutions that have like shown over and over again that fucking they don't have the will of anybody other than their own selves fucking and their hearts. There's no fucking love for the people. I mean, that's why every aspect of fucking life is taxed. There's $23 billion in fucking debt. There's guaranteed welfare for fucking military operations so that fucking all these shareholders can stay rich. Oil's below the fucking, it goes below the cost of, the pre 9/11 cost, and we're getting gouged at the fucking pump still. I mean, it's just fucking horseshit.
Now, one thing I want to say is that if you're listening at Decentralize Now, we do not advocate for violence. So if you're listening to that, we do not advocate that.
No, Decentralize Now does not advocate for violence, but fucking Busted does.
Okay, well,
throw a brick through a cop car.
That's his
window.
shit. We believe in free speech. If that's what he wants to say, that's what he wants to say.
You think you've heard it all? You haven't heard shit. Stick around for more Decentralize Now.
But do you mind if I ask you a question about prison? This is just out of curiosity.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Were the cop, well, two. Number one, were the cops fucked up? Like the cop, and I guess they're not cops, they're like prison guards. The cops outside obviously uses excessive force. Does that shit happen in prison? And if it does, do you think it's like a survival thing? Like they have to do that to kind of keep their, to stay alive or that type of shit? What was your reaction with them inside the prison?
For the most part, like honestly, most of them CEOs were pretty down to earth. But I mean, you did have like complete assholes who went out of their way to make people's fucking lives hell. And I think, the badge and positions of authority, like they attract fucking psychopaths.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a fucking doubt. There was also a study done at Duke, like back in the 60s or something like that, where they gave a bunch of students roles as prison guards and prisoners, and they split it up like it was random drawings, and they just, okay, you're the prisoners, you're the ones that were the prison guards immediately started abusing the power. Like within, like they had to, it was supposed to be 2 weeks long, and I think they had to shut the program down after like 3 or 4 days because there was so much violence and like just blatant like disregard of power going on. There's something about being in power of people, like people go insane. They will use it to their advantage. They will use it to hurt people.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was Stanford. I actually
was it Stanford?
I did on that. They fucking yeah. I mean, I personally believe that people who you give them power, and most people can't really deal with it.
Right.
Those were normal people. Those were intelligent kids in a big school. That you now take something like that and advertise it to every Tom, Dick, and Harry that's got a micro penis and wants to do something about it. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Were there? This is just out of curiosity. This is kind of like a dumb question, but were there like gangs in there, or was it pretty much not like that? That's kind of a fantasy.
No, I mean, there's gangs, there's violence, I mean, all that shit does happen. But again, a lot of people are drawn to that shit. Especially people with, people that need external fucking, recognition, that need fucking, that need other people to recognize everything they do. I mean, those are the people that definitely gravitated to that. For me, I mean, I kind of just, I don't know. It was just weird. I mean, to me, it was like the universe opened my door up to these people who were healing, and they decided that I was worth, helping. And, I avoided all the bullshit. I started exercising. I've read like so many fucking Wayne Dyer fucking self-help books and shit, but there's like a small group in there that's like that. And I mean, I'm still friends with most of them. But for the most part, most people don't see a reason to change or fucking like to step out on their own and fucking develop their own identity. So the gangs and shit definitely happened. Fucking violence, murder, it all happens in there.
Now the like kind of like your point, like you avoid a lot of that. Is it difficult to go into prison and avoid that stuff, or is it a situation where like you get that if you want it, or if you go in, you keep to your own business, you can kind of stay away from that? In your experience there, I imagine it differs from prison to prison, but at least maybe from where you were at.
Yeah, I mean, if you want it, you're gonna find it, and I mean that's anything like in life in general. For me though, I mean, I've always been a fucking ass clown, so being to make people laugh, and then being able to relate to people on a real level. I wasn't like friends with all the gangbangers and shit, but they all knew like this dude's kind of trying to change his life, and this dude's like, he's a cool dude. Nobody tried to, a couple guys told me I needed to, oh, you're white, you gotta fucking, and I was like, bro, I don't fucking do that shit.
Well, they like told you like, hey, you gotta sit over here because you're white, or what was that all about?
Yeah, you gotta sit, or fucking that dude's black, what are you doing? What are you doing hanging out with that N-word?
I see, yeah.
That dude's gay, or fucking, that dude this dude that, it just,
So it wasn't so much of like people from other races trying to get to tell you what to do. It's someone from your race basically trying to, hey, you need to be like us, you need to stick with our clan kind of a thing, or was it both?
No, it was primarily the fucking, as we call them, the white dudes.
Yeah.
The white dudes were, I mean, they were all about that shit, but they were also the ones like, you go into prison and people glorify shit, and it's like they have kids at home. They haven't had pussy in fucking 25 years, but they're the coolest fucking guy on the yard, They're like high school Rob Lowe's. They hang their hat on those accomplishments that like have completely like ruined not only their lives but their fucking kids' lives, their mom's lives.
Damn.
And for me that was like a karmic lesson. I'm like, dude, I'm sitting here observing the old me from this new me perspective, and now I know how motherfuckers felt when they were trying to get through to me.
Damn.
You're currently listening to the best podcast in the whole fucking universe.
Decentralize Now.
I guess if you could kind of go back and talk to yourself, before you did the first one, what would you say? Would you have done things differently, or kind of what advice would you give?
In all honesty, man, I don't think I'd go back and like really change any of it, man. That's because cool. It like really forced me, like sitting in prison, like forced me into a position where like I really had to sort through some shit. I mean, years of fucking trauma as a kid. Like I said, low self-esteem, no sense of self, worth. I wouldn't go back and change a thing, man. Like, in all honesty, I wouldn't go back and talk to that dude. That dude back then, like, he wasn't listening to anything.
Now, if what I think. Oh, go ahead.
That's pretty cool, man. I like that.
Absolutely. No, it's
so
awesome.
many people.
No,
I'd go back and I'd tell myself, but like, I mean, if you'd gone back and told yourself that, who knows what would have happened,
Exactly. No, for sure.
Yeah.
if what I think is and I obviously didn't know your story until now. I only knew like an outline of it, just some of the high points. But obviously, you said you're on the wagon. You've kind of pulled your life back together. And from what you're telling me, when you were in prison, you had this tremendous, like a healing experience. You know what I mean? You were able to kind of really sort through some shit. So I guess there is that I guess that kind of silver lining, so to speak, with your story of you can kind of move past some of this stuff. So for people who are struggling with addiction, I mean, you said that you're in recovery and you talk to some other people. What kind of advice do you have for people trying to pull it all together?
Just take it slow and easy. I mean, it's not really easy to confront shit that like almost destroyed you, but take it slow and steady and just be willing to do the work. Because it's a lot of work. I mean, there's I can't sit here and tell you like I fucking have healed completely.
Sure.
Still a lot of shit in there that still comes up, and the bottom line is like have the willingness to do the work, and it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. I remember. So I just want to. I want to talk about this counselor I had in prison. So I never had like a legit parental figure, not like a loving parental figure. It was, and not to knock my parents. I mean, people are who they are, but, my mother was she came from England, believed that child abuse was, it was the standard. And my dad, I don't think wanted to be in the marriage with her, so he fucking worked and spent all of his time at the bar. And so I never had a parental figure growing up, not a loving parental figure that was constantly around. This lady in prison told me that I needed to be my own grandfather, and like I had to write out what a loving grandfather looks like. What would a loving grandfather do if you fuck up? What would he do if you do something right? And like literally I've had to take that approach to my life. I'm not as hard on myself as I used to be. And like I fucking actually genuinely love myself 90% of the time nowadays.
That's fucking great, man.
But it's work, man. It takes work. And I mean, the payoff, the long-term payoff for doing the work is fucking a million times better than, any fucking high, So, I mean, that's what I would tell people. And I mean, it's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. And some of us were dealt some really fucked up hands, but we got to choose what to do with those cards we were dealt.
That's some like tear-eyed. Like I'm getting teary-eyed, man. That's some beautiful shit.
Yeah, dude, this has been like one of the more real, like the most real episodes like we've ever had. We've had like people running for political fucking shit on here before, but nothing's been like nothing's hit like home. Like nothing's been like real. This is like real shit. This is dope.
As real as it gets, dude. Fucking for real.
Gotta find more guests with micro penises.
One thing I like about what you're saying is that it kind of sounds like central to everything is like loving yourself. Like, because a lot of people might see that guy who's strung out or maybe took a wrong path, or I don't even say a wrong path, but took that path, and they don't understand where it's coming from. But you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you're saying that it all comes from loving yourself. If you can just not be so hard on yourself and kind of keep things in perspective, a lot of things get sorted out. Is that kind of the thesis, so to speak?
Yeah, definitely. And then there's also like you become the person you want by like literally visualizing this shit and like making like a plan of action, like put it on paper and fucking step towards it. It's the only way for for people who have been like through trauma. I mean, a lot of their identities are wrapped up in what other people did to them. You know, and it's a fucked up thing about, you know, people who have been victimized is, I mean, a lot of us fucking carry that baggage from some fucking, you know, from whoever the fucking victimizer was. We carry that baggage like it's ours. You know, it like once people can realize like there was nothing wrong with them that caused this to, you know, whatever it may have been to happen. There's no changing that it happened, but you know, there's nothing wrong with you. You can't change it, and the people that did that are just that they were fucked up, you know. And you know, once you can put those things into perspective, then you know it really makes like fucking cultivating a new person a lot easier.